with that, I want to open it up to some of our other tribe members. Matt, you've been phenomenal and authentic and honest throughout. Hopefully those questions have gotten some of our tribe members thinking. But guys, this is for everybody else who's out there to jump in. Matt, how much more time do we have with your awesome presence?
Listen, until the questions stop, that's how much time we got, or until my throat gives out.
I'm glad to hear that. Guys, all you.
Hi, Matt. This is Dominic Martel. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, Dominic. We're good.
How are you, buddy? I just want to say thank you so much for your input, man. It's just some really valuable stuff. And I actually just joined this group yesterday, and I'm a new guy. So thank you, everybody, for letting me join. And I'm an entrepreneur. I'm located in Staten Island, New York. And I have over, 8 years. Listen, my biggest challenge now is taking on new business. Getting that trust relationship with new customers, because when it comes to IT, they got to trust your IT guy. And I always provide a great service, but getting that new customer is really the biggest challenge right now.
Yeah. So how many customers did you say you had, Dominic?
I have about 300 right now.
Yeah. So do you have the staff to handle more business? If you got a lot of new business, do you have the staff in place to handle it?
I do. I have a team of about 10 guys right now.
Yeah, so the first thing you need to do is, number one, if you don't mind me coming at you with my answers, I mean, I'm more than happy to do dialogue, but I got this one kind of figured out for you, if you don't mind.
Go right ahead.
The first thing you got to do is those 10 guys that you got, they're now sales guys. Now, I know you're in the IT business, and they think they're IT guys, but they're really sales guys. They need to generate enough revenue to cover their expenses plus one time. In other words, if those guys are making 50, whatever the number is, they need to generate 100 grand. So when they're on the job site, they need to be asking questions. Who else do you know that could benefit from my services? So the first move is those 10 guys need to start looking at themselves as sales guys too, not just deliverables. The second thing is you got to work those 300 customers. You got a newsletter that go out to those 300 customers?
I do. I'm in the process of migrating that to a new service, but I do.
So that newsletter needs to go out. Do you record videos?
That's the next step. I got all the equipment. I'm going to get started.
How about blogs? You write blogs?
I have my site, which all my customers communicate with us through, and social media, all that kind of stuff. My latest project is called schoolbusmanager.com. It's a fleet management software for school bus companies. Currently, from what in our research, there's no competition on the market right now. So my main focus is getting this school bus manager in as many companies as possible with our free trial program.
That's interesting. I mean, I know that school bus space because we financed a bunch of school buses over the years. That's an interesting thing. Tell me, what's the benefit of that to the school bus operator?
To give you an example, in New York City, when the Department of Education, they send a school bus company a list of 5,000 children. It's then up to the school bus company to logistically figure out how they're going to move those kids. There's one competitor in the space. It's a physical program. It's outdated. It's archaic. It's horrible. And our software takes that data, you import it right in, and you start dragging and dropping and creating bus routes, taking attendance of students, GPS tracking, the works. And it was all engineered and developed by my team and myself.
Look, I love the idea, and I love the idea that somebody else is already in that space and they're a little long in the tooth. That's a huge opportunity for you. It's similar to an Uber setup with taxi cabs, right? How did the taxi industry allow Uber to come along? So you're lucky that you have that. Now, the only thing I would do is, if I was in your shoes, is I'd be picking up the phone, I'd be calling every school bus operator in the areas that you could benefit from, and I'd be asking them to do a quick demo, go to webinar, and I would just go grassroots on it, dude. 150 calls a day for 6 months, and you'll look up and that thing will be selling like hotcakes. That's my guess.
It's like one of these multi-millionaires.
Are you capable of doing that, though? Are you capable of banging the phones? Do you have the team that can do that?
I do, and I already have 4 in-person meetings scheduled with New York City school bus companies. We developed this software hand in hand with a local company from the ground up. So there's been 8 months in the making. Right now it's my job as the sales head and the infrastructure head to get this ball rolling and let my developers and my app guys do the app stuff. I'm the head of the business operations. So it's, I'm putting this stuff together. We launched yesterday.
Dude, There's a lot of opportunity in that, man. I like what you're doing there, and I can hear the passion in your voice. So what I would suggest is on those 4 meetings, turn them into 14 meetings. Those 14, turn them into 40. Turn those 40 into 400. I mean, go with this thing. That sounds great, man. I like that business.
Thank you very much.
Dom, thanks for sharing. That's absolute fire, and thank you for the feedback.
Thank you.
Hi, Matt. My name's Corey Rubenstein, and I'm from Raleigh, North Carolina, formerly from Staten Island, New York.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you a question. Due to your humble beginnings in '95, how much power did your suppliers have when you first started, and how were you able to overcome that?
Well, they hold all the keys. I mean, in my world, they're large publicly traded banks, and he who has the gold has the keys. So, they in the early days they held all the keys because we didn't have any money to fund any deals. So every deal had to go to the banks. But what we built was a sales origination firm, a team that did something through hard work, hustle, grit that the big publicly traded banks could never do themselves. And so, we were filling a need in the marketplace. I knew that I could out-hustle the big publicly traded banks. And similar to Dominic's situation, they were old. They were worn out. They were tired. They were long in the tooth. And you want to be in a platform or an industry in which that's what's going on. You don't want to be competing with Facebook or YouTube. You're dead. You want to compete with the old, stodgy, worn-out industries that nobody's brought innovation to or hustle to for decades. And there are a shitload of them out there.
Just to jump in real quick, Matt, what are some of the ones that come to the top of mind where you think there's some dinosaurs hanging out there?
I think the banking industry is riddled with it. I don't know any new players who are getting in the banking industry. I think the real estate industry is completely riddled with old gray hairs who have no idea how to hustle. I'm telling you, I've seen more real estate agents screw up deals because they're approaching them in this old mindset from the 80s and the 90s and not a new mindset. I think even some rudimentary businesses like plumbing and electrician and construction and landscaping, even those basic industries are old and worn out and outdated. And I think that hustle could really make a move for a guy in those spaces. And so those are just a few that come to the top of my mind. But the reality is any business is a great business if you're willing to commit to being in the top 1%. Hey, by the way, when I graduated college, 1991, if you made $100,000 a year, you were in the top 1% of the earners. Somebody take a guess at how much it is today to be in the top 1% of earners.
358,000.
Yeah, that's a good guess. That's a real good guess. Who came up with that? You got
Per
that?
year.
That's a good guess. Yeah, I think the official number is 384,000, but it's damn close enough. So the point is, guys, the money has moved, right? Everyone's still chasing these old numbers. The fact of the matter is, if you want to be in the top 1%, you need to be in that income bracket. So how hard are you willing to push? Are you running the numbers? Are you looking at the business model to see if it can actually get you to that space or to that earning potential? So anyway, that's I don't know if I answered your question, my friend from Raleigh, but I hope I got close.
Well, yeah, you did. You did. You filled the niche in which there was none. So, yeah, thank you.
More if you want. If you want more elaborate, I'm happy to help.
Hey, Matt, how are you? Jude Romano, Staten Island, New York. We got a lot of Staten Islanders on this call. It is an absolute pleasure to have you on the call. First quick question. I noticed under your name it says JP Morgan.
Yeah, JP, come around with a cool kid. This is actually real name JP Morgan right here. That is his birth.
Wow.
JP is our video production manager.
Hey, Matt. So, again, honestly, on behalf of myself and everyone on the call, I think it is an absolute pleasure to have you on this call, and I'm very grateful. Matt, one of the questions that I have for you that I think maybe you can, be helpful with is, as an entrepreneur, I spent last 12 years with JP Morgan Chase Bank as a commercial banker. As a new entrepreneur for the last 2+ years, one of the challenges that I face day to day is finding like-minded individuals who are willing to go above and beyond to find success and join the team. I feel that I find a lot of individuals who are just okay with being average. And it's very troubling to someone like myself who is always trying to be in that top 1%, as you spoke earlier.
Look, man, not everybody's going to be the boss. And a lot of times what the boss thinks they're looking for is a duplicate of themselves, and it's not true. So what I might suggest to you is really figure out what you're good at and then try to find people that are good at what you're not good at. And so instead of finding like-minded, like they think exactly the way you think, try to find people who actually complement where you're weak, because that's like-mindedness too. And when you put those two together, it really rounds out and makes a nice circle. I would challenge you on that a little bit, though. I find a lot of like-minded people today. Now, whether or not they're willing to do it at the level that I'm willing to do it, that's a different story. But I find a lot of people who want success, man, a lot of frustrated people out there, a lot of people who feel they are overworked and underpaid. So if your opportunity gives them a chance to make more money, they're all for it. And then the last piece of that puzzle, my friend, which is a tough one for entrepreneurs, is sometimes you got to pay for like-minded. You got to pay for good people. And that means maybe you got to take a step back to take 2 steps forwards. If you're starting to make good money that you think you deserve, sometimes you got to put more of that back into the company. You may even have to put it into somebody else to get them to come on board. You may have to take a pay cut to hire somebody. Man, I've had to do that many, many times.
Hey, Matt, thank you so much. Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
You got it, buddy. You got it.
Matt, and I'll keep the mic open for everybody else, but I'll just ask you this question because obviously grit is something we talked about. When you are looking for talent for your organizations, obviously perseverance is something you're checking for. Grit is something you're checking for. Tell me about how you go out and you identify talented people, whether they do have the same skill set as you or not.
Look, I don't have it all figured out in that regard. I've made a lot of bad hires, as I'm sure a lot of you guys have too, right? Hiring is a hard thing to get right. But here's what I look for. I look for, number one, competitive spirit. I want to see somebody who can fight. One of my better sales guys in here was captain of his football team at Rice. Ridiculously competitive guy. Mild-mannered guy, but underneath there, he's a real competitive guy. So I look for competitive nature. I look for skills. Do they know how to sell? Do they know how to do the job I'm asking them to do, right? And then the third thing I'm looking for is, what's their attitude like, man? I want to work with people that are happy. If you're happy outside of your life, you'll be happy inside your work life. They go hand in hand. So I never hire people who are miserable outside. They're going through a divorce. They got bad problems. They got shitty attitudes. And I never hire those people and think that they're going to be different in my organization. They're going to be the same here too. I want somebody who's got a happy marriage. They love their kids. They spend time with them. They're a family person. I don't care much about religion. It doesn't matter to me what your religious beliefs are, but some people consider that very important. I just want you to be a happy person, and then you got a pretty good shot at coming to work for me. Those are the 3 things, guys. I'll add a 4th. Tell some jokes every once in a while, right? Be funny. I like to work with funny people.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Tribe, who else has a question for our guest today?
Hey, Tribe, you guys shouldn't be thanking me. You should be thanking John for putting this together. John's the one who reached out to try to deliver the benefit. I'm happy to do it. It's absolutely my pleasure because I love helping entrepreneurs get through the blackness, the darkness, the melees of it, which I lived in for a decade of my 21 years in business. So I'm happy to help. But Johnny's the one who's put this thing together and made it happen. So how about a little shout out to Johnny?
Thanks, John.
This tribe knows that I get plenty of credit, so I appreciate the acknowledgement. Mikey Miller, we got some more real estate presence out there. We have some Maryland folks out there. Alex, yeah. I know you've been really excited about today. Why don't you share with us?
Yeah. Hey, Matt. My name is Alex. I'm 21. I'm a student at Maryland. I wanted to jump on your idea that you briefly brought up a while ago about the old-headed real estate agents. I'm getting in the real estate business. I'm in the process of developing a real estate mobile application that I know will revolutionize, the real estate industry. It's going to streamline, the home buying experience from start to finish. It's going to save a whole bunch of time. So, long story short, what is the key to recognizing a profitable business opportunity that you see? Because I'm starting a business and I'm also developing an application that is unlike anything else, and I think I can revolutionize a full industry that is, as big as the real estate game is.
Alex, I got a tough answer for you on that one. It is with love in my heart and ultimate respect for you that I tell you that I don't think you have enough knowledge to be able to say that yet. My recommendation for you is to go work for Trulia, go work for Realtor.com, go work for some software company that's doing a version of what you like. Let them pay you to teach you the ins and outs of that business. Don't go out on your own yet. Learn from others. Get paid to learn from others. And then in another year or two, bust away and go build this amazing revolutionary thing. But you need to learn from other people in that space and then take the best of their ideas and go do it for yourself, rather than trying to reinvent the wheel. Here's one thing for young people, and Alex, I'm not saying this is you, although you're 21. Listen, guys, Zuckerberg was one in a couple million. It just doesn't happen that often. So don't think that you're all going to be the next Zuckerberg. I'm not the Zuckerberg. I'm the hardworking, grind it out for a long period of time. If you guys can do it differently than I can, I want you to go for it. But everybody thinks they're going to be the new Zuckerberg and develop this app or this software program that's going to change the world. Most of the time, it's not, y'all. Most of the time, you got to pay the price. And that price might be working for somebody else and getting paid to learn and have them teach you. And that ain't much of a price to pay. That's a benefit.
Okay, so going off of that, this is a personal question for you then, because what types of opportunities would you pursue if you were to start over today?
Such a good question, man. It's an awesome question. I tell my 3 boys all the time, there's only a few industries that I want them to go into. 1 is cybersecurity, 2 is artificial intelligence, and 3 is potentially my business, right? Because I've set it up pretty nice for them. So those are the 3 places. I'm telling you, man, cybersecurity is never going to go away. Hacking, breaches, those problems are mission critical for the rest of time. They will never go away. So somebody who lives in that space and gets the top 1% is going to make gobs of money. And secondly, artificial intelligence is going to make the internet potentially obsolete. And I saw Tony Robbins about a month ago talk about this in San Antonio. I went to a small little event with him as the keynote. And Tony Robbins said that he has now seen 12K. So if we know 4K TVs, he has seen 12K artificial intelligence. And he says it makes you want to reach out and touch the person. You cannot tell the difference of whether or not they're there. So here's where I would go with it. Think about this for a second. What if you had an amazing dog that died? The software that's going to come out in artificial intelligence is going to allow you to upload a picture of that dog, and then they're going to get that dog running, and you can play ball with that dog again. You can throw the ball, the dog, your favorite dog will go catch it, bring it back, drop it at your feet, and you can play ball all day long with your dog. What if you lost your granddad, who you loved? He meant everything in the world to you. You can upload a picture and click. My granddad loved to talk about gardening. He loved to talk about the Jets. He loved to talk about women, and the software will allow you to have a conversation with your grandfather again. Or what if it was a kid or your wife? It's going to change the world, fellas. It's going to make the internet look like it's worthless.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you for the questions, and Matt, thank you for the answer. Now let me ask you about those 2 questions, those 2 industries, because at first, and I know I don't speak for all high D, super competitive, public speaking over writing type people, but cybersecurity and AI sounds like a lot of damn computers to me. Okay. But there's massive opportunity in the business development and marketing behind those spaces where personality traits that maybe are not the high C personality that loves designing code can thrive. Where do you see opportunities like that to go bigger and bolder than most people are thinking?
Somebody's always got to sell something, guys. Always. It doesn't matter what the product is. It doesn't matter. Somebody's always going to sell it. It's one of the things I do with my boys. I make them stand on the fireplace, and I'll rip a piece of paper out of any magazine. It doesn't matter what the magazine. I'll give it to them, and I make them on the spot give me a book report. Now, my kids have probably done 100+ book reports each on that fireplace mantle. So when it comes time for them to present or stand up in front of a group or a class, they got it down pat. Somebody's got to preach it, man. So always selling wins 100% of the time. That's why I told that one gentleman, get your 10 IT guys to be salespeople. That's one fast way to grow the business. Everybody in the organization has to sell. Even JP in my studio, JP, you guys start selling more.
Awesome.
Everybody's got to sell, guys. So to answer your question, I mean, you're right. It does sound that way, but sales overlays everything.
That's right. That's right. And I was just walking you into that, Matt. That was called the tie down. I was just setting you up there to tell the rest of the tribe about how important sales are, because when I branded this as a sales and influence tribe at first, there was this, obviously, the people have mixed feelings about that word. So we have navigated this to really be a tribe of leaders more than anything. But it's clear that sales is everywhere for all of us.
But Johnny, nobody knows how to sell. Nobody's good at selling.
Well,
I mean, ask yourself, when was the last time you bought something and the salesperson sent you a thank you card? Almost never. I mean, isn't that the basic thing of selling, right? Send a doggone thank you card. It doesn't even get done anymore. I mean, nobody knows how to sell well anymore.
How does Cardone feel about writing all those thank you cards for all his books and downloads?
But you see it? You see what he does? I mean, Cardone's a master at that stuff.
He's a beast. He's a beast.
He is a master of a guy who completely walks the talk. And I've spent time with him. He is an assassin in person. There is no show for Cardone. It's all the real deal.
What do you think keeps the best salespeople energized and operating at the highest level throughout the day? Is it their mindset? Is it their physiology? Is it the energy? Is it the people who hit a tipping point in their network? What keeps people rolling?
Yeah, you got to have good leads for your people, right? I mean, success breeds success, closes breeds closes. So they need to have good leads. You can't have them making, 1,000 cold calls to close one deal. I mean, you need to feed your people good leads. But also you need a great comp plan. I mean, my thoroughbreds work for me because they get paid. And you got to have a real good comp plan. And if you're trying to shortchange your salespeople, you'll never have top-level salespeople. You will have middle or below average because that's what you're willing to pay them. My top guy makes 7 figures a year. That's what keeps him motivated.
Yeah, I'm sure he's pretty happy about that. How about me?
This is Dominic. Just one quick question for you as far as the sales techniques and the motivation for salespeople. Do you have like a tiered commission structure with your business, or is it a flat rate? How do you get that motivation out the gate for customers for your agents to continue to sell?
Yes, you absolutely have to have a tiered program, Dominic. It's not equal for everybody. So our entry-level folks get paid $50,000 a year base salary. They make no commission until they start to hit a certain level of fundings for us. And then a bonus program kicks in, and then that bonus program is what really turns into an escalator. And we have 4 different levels in our office. So every sales program has to have multiple levels of achievement. And that's the only way I think you can keep your thoroughbreds moving forward. But eventually, even the thoroughbreds begin to tap out. I mean, you can only pay a guy so much. Now, my guys have unlimited income potential. There is no cap to their income here, but there is cap to their commission. So I would never put a ceiling on what they can make, but I will put a ceiling on how much of the deal they can make. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and in my experience, my business is really all subscription based for the most part. I do project related stuff, but customers generally pay me monthly or yearly on whatever service I sell them. So my idea was to give an affiliate program where I would give 20% reoccurring commissions across the board in every service. If you're an affiliate and you send it to a big time company that needs IT services, whether it be cloud backup, remote support, whatever it is, they would get paid based on that action, and everything is tracked, everything's monitored and legit. And it never really took off. I'm sitting here figuring out why.
I think it always comes back down to the money. So Dominic, you just got to put yourself in that other person's shoes. And when you ask that question to yourself of why didn't it work out, you have to ask the question of what would it be like in their shoes. I mean, can they really make enough money under that affiliate type program? I don't know much about affiliate programs like that. I never have done multi-level marketing, so I clearly understand it, but I don't really know how many people really get to the top of the pyramid to make it. I'm really an old school guy when it comes to that stuff, man. Here's an opportunity. Here's a comp plan that's far better. My comp plan is triple than what the industry pays. And I want my thoroughbreds to run. So I pay really sweet compensation programs. And that answers the first question of how do you keep your salespeople motivated? You have to give them a compensation plan that keeps them motivated.
Thank you.
I have another question for you, Matt. So to backtrack, you said the industry that you would have attacked today, but let's just keep course with what you did and how you've done it. Who was your role model starting out, and who's your role model today?
So it's a fair question. I wish I had a better answer for you. I never had anybody. Nobody. And I'm not kidding you. Nobody. Someone said once, show me I think Warren Buffett said it, show me who your hero is and I'll show you how your life will turn out. I heard that and I looked and I said, I never had a hero, ever. My real dad left when I was 6 months old. I never saw him again. My adopted dad wasn't the best of guys. I just never had a hero. Never. I never had a coach. I never had a teacher, nothing, man. So my life is sad in that regard that I didn't have that. And that's why I think when John asked that opening question of what's my focus in my life, and I immediately said my 3 boys, and I want to be their hero. And I want to be that for my employees and for some customers and for some vendors. I mean, I want to be it for you guys, for goodness sake. I mean, I know what it's like to never have that person to look up to. And it's sad. Maybe some of you guys can relate to what I'm talking about, or maybe some of you guys were lucky enough to have a hero. Consider yourself blessed, man. I didn't have anybody. And to this day, I have to be my own hero. I'm the only guy I can count on, man. I don't have a hero.
That's really, thank you for your honesty. Really appreciate that. This just got me thinking. Do you think that the trend of divorce in millennials and just lack of resonates with the classification that the archaic fossil fuels put onto millennials? That lack of heroism, that lack of where to go next.
I think there's so many, just a very interesting question, but I think there are so many choices now that the idea of the heroism is it's diluted, right? I mean, listen, my grandfather was an immigrant from Ireland, and I remember I was about 9 years old, and I wanted this 10-speed bike, any 10-speed bike. And he used to go through the dump and pick up other people's trash, and he would clean it up, and he would give it to us grandkids. And he brought that 10-speed bike home to me one day. I remember him driving up, and he had that bike. Dude, I remember it today like it was freaking yesterday. It's the favorite gift I've ever received in my entire life. And I probably got 5 10-speed, brand new 10-speed bikes in my garage. My kids don't even put them in the rack. Dude, I washed that old green Schwinn bike from the dump like it was gold. So to answer your question, I don't think there's been enough. There's so many options now that you don't even know what to care about or what to commit to at such a deep level, because you get options all the time. It's just not enough sacrifice, man, in a lot of things. Things are easier today, guys, than it once was. And in my opinion, it's a good thing in business for those who are committed, but in the really important stuff, it's not so good, because it makes the important stuff not as important, not as meaningful. Anybody relate to that? I mean, I don't have to be the expert on that. What do you guys think about that concept?
I think it's spot on.
Spot on.
And we appreciate that. I could tell that probably got under your skin more than anything we've talked about today. That was like, you got really real there with us, and we could feel that. I think we're all guilty of it, especially my generation. We have so many choices that for feels like a long time we bragged about how much choice that technology brought us, how much movement it brought us, how much diversity it brought us. But you're right, there is a tarnishing of that deity, that commitment to one that we do get challenged with. So I appreciate you calling us out on that a little bit, Matt.
Listen, I'm not a good or a bad thing. It just sort of is what it is. I mean, let's look at our election. I mean, our choices were, for all intents and purposes, someone who didn't play her hand well, and the other guy gets called out for groping women, and those are our 2 choices. I mean, what holds the same panache anymore, right? I mean, what holds the same sort of pedigree or things that happened, decades ago. And it's hard to find, man. You know who does? Zuckerberg, Vaynerchuk. I mean, those are the guys that people want to be, and they think those are the winners. And I hope those guys are the winners. But, it's not always about the money, man. Believe me, it's not always about the money.
I have a question. What's your biggest regret in life?
I don't have a lot of regrets. I have a real regret that I wish I served my country in the military. That bugs me. I wish I had done that. I feel I feel as though maybe I didn't give back to this amazing place that gives us the freedom to prosper. And I have tremendous respect for people who did. And then I think on a selfish level, I didn't dream big enough, man. I'm telling you guys, I didn't dream big enough. I had small dreams. I figured, how could I make $100,000 a year? How could I make $150,000 a year? I mean, those are my dreams, man. I never dreamed big enough. And I will spend the rest of my life making up for that, because I wasted a decade of my 21 years in business just not dreaming big enough.
Wow.
I'm telling you, dream bigger, guys. Dream big. I'll never forget, I had a guy, he worked on a 3-year strategic plan with me, and the numbers at the bottom were so absurd for the net income of my business. And I went to him and I said, I never dreamed I would make that much money. How is it possible? How is it possible? And he said, you're focused on the wrong thing. You're focused on the bottom line. What you need to be focused on is the middle. Can you execute this plan? And we executed a 3-year plan in 18 months, and it changed everything for me, man. I just didn't dream big enough. That's a self-esteem issue, by the way, guys.
Wow.
I came from tough self-esteem issues growing up, and that's why we don't dream big enough. We don't believe we are worthy of our dreams.
Ain't that the truth? I am the son of a longshoreman from New York City.
And what was he telling you? What was he telling you when you were a kid?
You don't want to do what I do. Go to school. That's actually what he told me every day. He said, you don't want to do it. So the fact that I make money off the internet and my cell phone kind of blows his mind a little bit. But I know where his hands have been. I can see it on his palms. So that's awesome, Matt. That really is awesome. Guys, I have a question for Matt, if it's okay with everybody. So let's go back to when you were selling financing to trucks. You knew your end user really well. So you set up shop right there in the parking lot. Whereas with some of these less tangible things that we have, let's just take my sales coaching right now. I could approach the individual entrepreneur. I could go and try to get the Target Corporation for their local regional managers to do sales training. How do you help business owners identify who to go after? I mean, I'll make the 200 calls, but I want to make sure I'm making them to the right people.
I think that space is very challenged, John, because there's a lot of competition in it. The costs of getting eyeballs for your product are very expensive. And I think you have to almost reverse engineer it, right? Like, I consume my content on YouTube. I don't subscribe to any monthly services. I don't do any of that sort of stuff. So I think the consumer has so little time that you almost have to be in their face all the time. So it's a challenging business model to me, because typically like with all due respect, I probably wouldn't buy that program, because when you're in the flow and it's working and you're on purpose and it's all going good, you selectively consume the information. So I always wonder about guys who are doing that, of really what type of client do they typically end up working with? Are they really working with people who may change? I once interviewed Larry Winget. If you guys know who Larry Winget is, you know who I'm talking about?
I'm looking at it.
He wrote a book. He wrote multiple books, but his book it's called Work for a Reason. His new book is called Grow a Pair. If you saw a picture of him, you'd know him. He's on Fox all the time. And I said, Larry, you've been doing this motivation gig for 30 years. Has it changed? I mean, have people gotten more motivated? He says it's gotten worse. People don't, they talk about it, but they don't know how to take action steps anymore. So to answer your question, I mean, how do you get in the filter? How do you get the eyeballs? Dude, you got to be everywhere. Again, I go back to this social media piece. I mean, people talk about sending one tweet and they're on Twitter and you look at their account and they got 8 followers. I mean, dude, you got to bang it. I mean, you got to put yourself out. You got to swim in a pool at 56 degrees and then shave. And I mean, you got to do anything to get attention, man.
That's right. I was thinking about that. I'm like, I know he made the active choice to shave this morning when he made this video, and it was inspiring because I knew you made that choice before it happened. You didn't just turn on the camera and start shaving.
It's all just part. It's all multitasking. It's all part of purpose. It's flow. It's just on purpose. And then, John, when you get as a business owner, when you get to a point where you're saying, "I'm so comfortable in myself that I'll show it in any situation," that's when real movement happens. That's when scale really happens because the customers really begin to trust you at that point. It really is true. I think. By the way, very risky to do. I mean. 99% of the people in my space, large publicly traded banks, must think I'm a complete retard if they even see me on Facebook jumping in a cold pool. I don't care. My customers do care, and they like it. And they tell me it helps them run a better business. And they appreciate it. And they feel as though somebody cares about them. Someone's teaching them things that they don't know where to get. Man, that's all I need to hear.
Fair game. We talk a ton about bringing unique value to the marketplace. Right now you have obviously a great following, but our generation has this leverage of technology. So everybody's got to stay hungry. Everybody's got to stay hungry in our tribe.
It moves so fast, y'all. You got to stay in the game all the time. It's moving way, way, way faster than it ever has. It's moving so fast.
That's for sure. Guys, last question for our special guest, Mr. Manero, today. Matt, thank you so much again. Last question, guys.
All right, Matt. Gotta ask you this question. Do you exercise?
I do. I work out 4 days a week with a personal trainer, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday. I swim in my 50-some-odd degree pool every morning. We do boot camps here in my office 3 days a week, and it's still a bitch for me to lose weight.
It's tough for everybody. What shoes are you most comfortable exercising in, and how many would you say you buy per year?
That's funny. I wear Brooks. I just ordered 2 new pairs of them the other day. Brooks. I think they might be called Brooks Zooms. I think it's the only shoe that I wear when I'm working out on, and I probably buy a pair a month, maybe more. Wow.
How much do you spend on those per month?
They're about $100 a piece.
Wow. So you're spending $1,200 a year paying for sneakers, which you love.
No, I'm paying whatever the price is for my feet to not hurt.
Did you ever consider that your feet might hurt because you're wearing the same pair of sneakers every month?
No, but my feet don't hurt. I love those shoes. That's why I buy them, because my feet don't hurt. They're the most unbelievable pair of shoes. What you got? Are you in the shoe business?
That's exactly what I'm in, Matt. So, I had to ask you. One per month, you would be perfect projectile for my plan. That's great.
Price is no option for a guy like me. Period. End of story. When it comes to what you're selling, none, zero. I'll spend whatever the price is for comfort. So it doesn't matter when you get into that certain type of filter economic space for the type of customer you might want to sell to. You could sell it for whatever you want. If the shoe was $500 and it was the most comfortable shoe I ever wore, I'll take 5 pairs of them. I mean, that's just what happens at some point,
Yeah.
So,
absolutely. Just food for thought. It's think of sneakers as a prescription. You want to make sure you're getting the right one prescribed for you.
Dude, I totally agree with that. I mean, I have worn recently some bad shoes just walking around, and they hurt my feet. So I'm right there with you, man. By the way, that problem ain't never going away either.
Perfect.
There we go, guys. A complete full circle. Matt, I want to thank you so much for your time today. I will let you know, although you've probably sold more business than most of our members combined, you do have a complimentary membership to the tribe from here on out. So consider yourself part of the family, brother. If you're looking for some morning videos to motivate you, or just to see what the hot people in the 20, 30, 40 market are doing that are chasing you down. Appreciate it. And don't be surprised if you get a message from somebody here in the group from time to time asking you a question, if that's okay with you.
John, I want to help it. Listen, for everybody in the tribe, and John, you can put this out too. I'll give a free copy of my ebook. It's at mattmanero.com/ebook, and everybody can get a copy of the grit if they want it, no charge.
Awesome. That's really cool. I'll be sharing that with the tribe later today. Also, guys, Matt has a webinar coming up on December 13th, if I'm not mistaken, Matt.
John, thank you for bringing that up. I wish I had brought that up. Thank you for bringing that up. December 13th, I'm doing a 100% free webinar with my friend Rick Sapio. Sapio runs a multi-billion-dollar hedge fund. And we're talking about management by objectives. How do you get your people all on the same page, focused on the same projects, on the same hills to climb? And that webinar is December 13th, 11:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. And if you follow me on Facebook at Matt Manero, you'll see links to it. And that'll be one you don't want to miss. So it'll be about 45 minutes, and it'll just be action-packed.
Yeah. Already signed up for it, Matt.
Beautiful. Dude, I'm telling you, the management by objectives things changed everything for me. And Sapio is the best guy to deliver it. So he owns a company called Business Finishing School. They put on a boot camp here in Dallas twice a year. And this is part of the dialogue, part of the curriculum. It's fantastic.
Phenomenal. That's the 13th of December. I believe it's 12:30 Eastern Time, 9:30 a.m. Pacific Time. Better leadership through communication, delegation, and caring. Matt, before I let you go, one question. What's the best self-development or business conference out there coast to coast that's kind of under the radar?
It's funny. I got to tell you, man, and it may sound as though I'm preaching here a little bit, but the Business Finishing School, which happens in Dallas twice a year, they do it in February and they do it in September. It's $297. And it is one of the most unbelievable values. But then second to that, I see Tony Robbins making this huge resurgence. Now, I'm not a guy who's going to go and spend 5 days with 7,000 people to learn it. But I'm a huge believer in Tony Robbins' mindset of changing limiting beliefs. And so I have a huge resurgence of Tony Robbins going on in my repertoire of what I'm listening to because of the importance of removing these limiting beliefs, man. Anything is possible, guys. It sounds good, but anything is possible. I mean it.
Awesome, Matt. We'll be sure to be in touch if we can get the tribe out there, because I'll be knocking on your door for $97 tickets for the whole tribe when that time comes. Tony Robbins, absolutely great dude. Physiology and mindset breakdowns. You've been a rock star. I guess I got to ask one more question. What are the chances of you helping us connect with the next amazing person that we're going to interview for our tribe?
Well, tell me, let me ask you guys, what piece of what I talked about today was most meaningful for you and impactful, and that may be able to guide me in the direction that the tribe wants more of. So give me some feedback on, a takeaway or two that really was beneficial for you guys, and that may point you in the right direction.
My first point is I really love your ability to take a bird's eye view and look at all different industries. We talked about AI to financing to real estate. And for me, I think when leaders can step back and not just talk about how they sold cars for 25 years, somebody that can look at several industries and has had success in several industries, that's who I certainly want to have in front of our tribe. Guys, who comes to mind for the rest of you guys?
Hey, John, this is Jude. What comes to mind for me, John, is people with a similar background like Matt. The fact that he came from a very hard-working background and did it and was not born into wealth.
My guy Rick Sapio grew up in Brooklyn, one of 9 kids. Father died when he was 13 years old. His mother went into it became neurotic, and he said he never saw her one day when she wasn't crying for the rest of his life. And he's gone to build a multi-billion-dollar hedge fund here in Dallas. Maybe I'll get him on the tribe.
That would be awesome. Any introductions are certainly appreciated. Who else comes to mind that you think would be a great fit to come in front of us, or what other takeaways do tribe members have to share? Because we're going to try to pull 1 or 2 referrals right now out of Mr. Manero while we got him on the line. All right, cool. We'll leave it at that. Matt, thank you so
Johnny,
much.
I'll keep you in mind on those referrals, buddy. I promise.
Awesome, brother. We're looking for awesome people, and if they're anything like you, we'll certainly take them in a heartbeat. Thank you so much for your time, guys. I'll hang on the line here if you have any more questions about what we're doing, what our schedule is as a tribe for the next couple of days and weeks. But Mr. Matt, you're a rock star, brother. We're grateful for you, and keep us in mind as you continue to scale your mission across the world.
John, I'm grateful for you for reaching out, and guys, thanks for spending some time with me. It was my pleasure, guys. Take care. Stay gritty.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.